Hello everyone and welcome to another brand new video. I'm going to be doing this because I have a chance to showcase up some Star Wars Outlaws gameplay. Now, I did actually go make a video on my YouTube channel for a little bit more of an in-depth review and kind of showcase on everything out there. I had a chance to play the game. I played it for 4 hours with an individualized press event, so I had a hands-on one-on-one with Ubisoft and had a chance to go and see and test out many various aspects of the game itself. I did go make a random big YouTube review of it, so I'll put a link to that down below in case you just want to have the more fine-tuned thoughts. But for some odd reason, we're seeing a lot of preemptive hate on the game itself. And I don't want to be someone who's like, oh, I really like this company, or I'm going to have to sit there and be like, oh my god, best game I've ever played, because I do not think Star Wars Outlaws was the best game I've ever played. But I do feel like there's a weird staging and a weird introduction of hate on the game itself, whether it's because the main character is a woman, maybe the standards for a Star Wars game is really, really high, or maybe people have apprehensiveness on Ubisoft from their prior game experiences. And I do think a lot of these things are very valid, but I feel like I kind of want to take a second over here for someone who had a chance to play the game and experience the game to kind of address some of these issues, because I don't think it was the best game of all time, but I do think it was a game that was probably going to be somewhat well received if you give it a shot, and I think a lot of people are kind of seeing that too as well. So if you guys will sit back, relax, give me your thoughts on all of this, subscribe if you guys want, and of course we have all the Target links down below for our summer holiday sale, and I would love to see if you guys are going to pick up Star Wars or not. So first and foremost, I do want to go and mention we're seeing a lot of hate. I'm going to show you guys a few different types of it over here in the first place, because there is more than kind of expected for a game that hasn't really shown out too much gameplay and too much notice pretty much everywhere. Like Star Wars Outlaws, like the main character, Kves, is receiving huge amount of hate. If you guys missed the Fable thing too, basically Fable had characters that, in all honesty, really weren't the most attractive characters out there. And a lot of people on Twitter, Reddit, which are usually sad anyway, and mad anyway, they're going to complain about everything, we're not that biggest fan of it. But it was crazy because some people are kind of basically calling the girl ugly, which I don't think she was ugly in the game. Stylistically, she gives me she looks like the girl from Stranger Things. And a lot of people are saying it was pretty realistic and chill, which wasn't that bad. But some people were being like, this game is going to suck. It's going to hate. People are not going to like it. Or even people kind of making hate comments for whatever reason on some of these characters themselves. Like, woke Ubisoft destroys Star Wars Outlaws, female actress made ugly again. And I don't necessarily kind of agree with this. If they're kind of talking about the characters themselves. Because number one, the character looks, you can maybe judge or critique them. I can understand that fine. But as well, a lot more people are diving into other different things. People are even kind of complaining about the discourse as being stupid. They're caring more about the gender and the character itself. But there is a few things such as cookie cutter gameplay, which I would agree on. But I think the gameplay was good. The overall vibe. I'm going to show you guys some gameplay too, because I have 4 hours of footage for it. But like I said, a lot of people were curious on why is the game getting hate? Why are people curious about this one? Why is there so much big stuff? And while people are saying, hey, it is one of the biggest franchises on the planet, and all somewhat maybe valid things because maybe the critiques are very high, I think a lot of people are overly critiquing the game. If you guys look at things such as even on the Ubisoft review, people are thinking there's already going to be a shitstorm in the YouTube algorithm when it comes out. Or Ubisoft is killing Star Wars games. And they're like, oh my god, the characters will be dead. But it's funny because there's also a very lot of quiet supporters saying Ubisoft games will always be my junk food. People are thinking the game's going to sell like mad. And at the same time too, I think the game itself has a lot of good potential. So I want to kind of address this in my own way, because I do have a lot of gameplay itself, which you can start showing out in the background. And while it may just be kind of more random and sporadic, and this is just the mix of the game itself, this is from my 4-hour recording session over here from from Ubisoft itself. I thought the game was not bad at all. So maybe I'll put this maybe a little bit farther back so you guys can see more proper gameplay. And this is at the very early stage of the game, around 40 minutes into my gameplay session with Ubisoft. And I don't know why this game is already preemptively getting so much hate. So I'm going to maybe try to go on both sides. Number one is I thought the game was cool. The game itself looked nice. The environments were very full. I thought there was cool details, even it might be a little bit quote-unquote basic. I don't know, look, you could see random attachments on the wall, random light, reasons to check corners for loot. Even it's not the biggest deal, it's out there. I think the game itself looks nice. I think it looks presentable. And like there's options, stealth options, little puzzles. And yeah, the game itself might be cookie cutter and maybe a little bit safe. I think on my initial review, I kind of gave the game more of like a safe vibe. Like it might be a little loud too, so let me turn down a smidgen. But like, yeah, the game is a little safe, yeah. But like, I think the game itself, and I think I mentioned this on like my review, for like an $18 Ubisoft 1 month binge out the game, beat it, like it's a good deal, good value. And I think people are overly complaining and overly hating on things as a whole, because the game was cool, and like not many people have had a chance to actually play the game, so it's kind of weird to see people have like such hardcore opinions of like, this game's gonna flop, this game's gonna suck, like, oh my god, whatever, oh my god, woman protagonist. And I'm gonna say, if you're a Star Wars fan, you're kind of used to like the Luke Skywalkers, Darth Vaders, like the popular General Grievous, popular characters that people see all the time. But on the reverse, like if people are trying to add and expand out IPs, like think even, I don't know, maybe The Mandalorian, which was popular inherently, but it wasn't like the craziest, biggest popular thing out there. I think that you should be accepting of it and give it a shot. Now, if the game sucks, and the game sucks, or if the game panders, the game panders, like don't get me wrong. But how I kind of felt from playing the game, it felt like it was a woman character that was there. But like she still had personality. I think the character didn't be like, oh my god, I'm a woman. Oh my god, I'm trying to go against all these men, whatever. I just think the main character was a girl, and that was all it was. Now, there is a few critiques in the game itself. Some of the combat was a bit basic and bare bones, such as you didn't have that many different types of weapon attacks. You're usually auto-attacking very similarly. Stealth elements are kind of like, you still kind of end up at the same ending result. Sure, that's fine. But it's weird to go and think that people hate a game so preemptively so much before a game's even out, before even giving it a shot. Now, I think my initial review is I gave it like a 7.8 if you're playing through Uplay. So like you're getting up the $17 deal. And then maybe a little bit lower if you're actually paying real money for it, which I think is valid because it didn't take any risks. And I can see people critiquing it for that. Like, I'd want a little bit more in depth, a little bit more RPG, a little bit more whatever, all that type of stuff. And it's like, I mean, the game looks good though. Like, look at this. Like, the game itself, like, there's a lot of stuff on the environment. Like, this is an area you can go through multiple different paths. Although small and still very similar no matter what you do, you are still pushing through things. You're making, like, going, like, through the game itself as a whole. So, I didn't think it was that bad. But for some odd reason, people are preemptively being like, I'm never going to buy this game. Female main character, like, game's trash, garbage already. And maybe it's just crazy people on Twitter. Maybe they're rage baiting for like clicks or attention or whatever, I don't know. But like, it wasn't that bad. Like, I liked it. Like, it was a fun run through. Like, I thought it was a cool game. And like, you can, like I said, like, the environments are big, different planets, different worlds. And of course, it's not the best game of all time, but like, it's still not that bad of an experience. So it's kind of crazy to think that so many people just don't at least want to give it a shot. And that's why I like things like Game Pass or like Uplay or like EA Access, because you drop the 15 bucks and you play the game. That's usually like a $70 game value, which I do think is a little expensive sometimes for games, even now still. But yeah, it's weird. Yeah, I can maybe see that one too as well. Like, just people getting like randomly just mad on random, like, just, I gotta get, I guess. But it's just weird because I think people are just too preemptively mad about it. Or like, you can see like all these hate things and stuff like that too. I don't know. It's not on Game Pass, it's on Ubisoft Plus, which is pretty similar. So I can maybe see like you don't get as much value, but maybe you go check out like Assassin's Creed. They have other different various games, even like Trackmania and stuff like that. But like, I thought the game looked great. Some people are saying the animations and the characters were a huge downgrade, which I guess has opinions on it nonetheless. But like, I don't think the main characters look that bad. I don't think the animations in the world look that bad. I don't think the gameplay looks that bad. Besides the fact that I think when I was doing my gameplay recording for this, I was trying to be sneaky and then I messed up and I had to go kill like 8. Like, this is where it's more of like the guns blazing. And I can maybe see some people critiquing this because I was seeing some comments on like AI characters and various things being a little bit too easy sometimes. But I think it was also on a slightly lower difficulty level, and you can bump that up as well. So like, that's like one of those things too. But yeah, it's kind of strange too as well. I can see some people saying on the higher price point being obnoxious, where it's like a $150 collector's edition or, you know, things like that. That does happen and does pop up, and I can understand that completely. But I'm one of those people, like, I compare it to like an $18 game because you can probably beat the game in 1 month, maybe 36 if you're working a normal job, have kids, you know, it's harder for you to run through the game. I can kind of get that too. But like, I still liked it. Now, was it the best game ever? No. Was it pretty average at the end of the day? They did play it safe, yeah. But like, I don't think people should really be caring that much about video game character looks. It matters, yes, but it's not end-all be-all de facto. As long as the gameplay's fun and the story is fun and characters and models are unique and different, yeah. It's like you have to take not just one big thing and complain about it. If it's a lot of things together with small individual parts, then yeah, I think it's fine to be like, okay, yeah, bad. But if it's like one or two smaller things with everything else rounds up to good, I think that's not the world's biggest deal. And it's just crazy that so many people are so upset no matter what without seeing major gameplay, without seeing them playing the game themselves, that it turns into like them hating onto everything on the planet. Because if you hate every single game that comes out, you're never gonna find maybe cool indie games you always want to check out. Maybe a random genre you want to go and see. And obviously, I mean, maybe you just don't like the game off for whatever reason, that's totally fine. But like my experience on it, and I kind of liked it. I'll probably play it day one, I'll probably enjoy day one. But it is crazy. It is, yeah, I was gonna do a little bit of like game ramble too for a video. But like, yeah, it's like, it's just intriguing for me to see. I don't know. Like, I don't know why people get so mad on everything nowadays. Literally everything I do as well. I do think, though, if you want to go $120, that is too much. Would I pay $120 for it? No. Would I pay $70 for it? Apprehensive. Ubisoft does go on sale quite often. I'd probably spend $30 for it. $17, I'd play it. Like, day one, I'd play it for 17 bucks. Like, why not? But it's, like, weird. Like, I think the game is good. Like, not the best game ever, but I've definitely played a lot worse games. I've definitely paid more money for worse games. And just the fact that there's just so much, like, kind of just fight back and forth. Maybe because it's Star Wars and people have higher expectations. Maybe it's because a woman, or maybe they just want to have more personality for it, because there is some dullness to the game. It does play things very safe, even on the stealth elements, gameplay elements, character elements. So I could see someone being like, I would expect more from Star Wars. But I'm on the opposite side where sometimes, like, I think if you try too hard without like actually having the money and the budget and the time to go do it, I don't know, it's rough. I do kind of agree though, this is totally going to be a game to boost up subscription numbers, especially for Uplay. Like, I think they'll have like kind of what Game Pass does, where it's like, hey, we released Call of Duty, our Game Pass numbers are through the roof at 45 million. And then afterwards they drop down because you have the initial launch cycle. It's just like normal business. So I can maybe see them kind of skewing that a little bit. And I did see a few companies like being like, all the initial play testers love the game. I did see Ubisoft say that a few times, which was fair, but not. I was not a part of those initial ones. I was on a more of a later wave. I think the game was cool. Like, I liked it. Like, I think it's getting a little bit too much preemptive early hate. But they did also scheme it a little bit. Like, Ubisoft's not 100% not to blame, because like I said, they did play the game a little bit safe. Some of the animations are a little meh. Open world could be more expansive, but like a 7.5 out of game is not weird. In a Void, would you say you enjoyed the game, ignoring price? I enjoyed the game, yeah. As a proper, like me, going through the experience, I played for 4 hours. I liked it. And I will play the game when it comes out, and I thought it was a cool experience. Will I fully beat the game? I don't know. Will I say it's the best game ever? I don't know. Do I think people should spend $70 on it? Probably not. Wait for a sale. Or get on U+. Like, a U+, 17 bucks, I got no complaints. I think even I would be like, yeah, I don't mind paying $17 to play it, binge it for a few weeks, get it done, play it for a week, whatever. And the game itself did seem long, too. Like, it didn't seem like it was a 10-hour game and you're donezo-onezo. Be pretty cool. Fallen Order, I think, from what I remember, was more in-depth. The game does lack a lot of depth, and I can see gamers critiquing it. But, and that's kind of why I was on the big subject of this, or the video, or me rambling, is that gamers are critiquing things that they haven't had a chance to experience and play, such as like looks and like just basic stuff like that, and like people complaining about the character being a girl. I don't mind playing a video game if the main character is a girl, but if it's like pandered and annoying and gross and very much like women can do anything, which I think they can at the end of the day, but in a video game it kind of takes you out of the element and kind of forces it too much. And I didn't really feel like that in this game too as well. Like, I didn't feel like it's like, oh my god, my character's a girl, like, or anything crazy. It's just more of like, okay, the main character is just a girl. Cool, whatever, move on. Like, there wasn't like big, you know, pandering towards it, or like woman powerness or whatever. It was just woman character in Star Wars universe, and it wasn't that bad. And I do think people, like I said, have been freaking out too much about it. Reddit threads about it, like a lot of tweets about it. and hate threads and stuff. But overall, the game itself isn't like the best game ever. It's quite average, but like a good, inoffensive average. And I think that's okay. Like if you're going to be mainly doing a subscription-based game, think like Game Pass games. Like I would rather play this game any day of the week than playing through Hellblade. Hellblade was cool for 2 hours, and then I realized the people making that game looked like they were taking acid. Like I don't know what was going on after a while. And at least this game has gameplay. There's story, there's lore, there's characters, side quests, open world. The environments are chill. You feel like you're in like stories, you know, whatever. Yeah, a lot of people are kind of like forcing their opinions too much on the game itself. And there's like there's like progression systems, character systems, a lot of cool nifty things that I think people are not gonna have a chance to experience. Now, I don't think this game is amazing, by the way. Like I said, I gave it like a 7 if you're paying $70 for it, like an 8 if you play on Ubisoft Plus. Like price point does matter a lot. And I do judge a cheaper game or a subscription service game a lot less harshly than I pay for a $70 pure game. And I think the game is full, runs good, animation's good, very minimal bugs from what I had a chance to see, looks long, looks like you get a good value of the game, doesn't overstay, RPG elements, gameplay a little bit basic, but at the same time, it doesn't matter if the main character is a girl, it doesn't matter if the main character is ugly, and I still think there's a lot of good merit for the game itself out there. So I just think people are taking things way too crazy, and I've been seeing too much of it, so I just want to chime in my thoughts and comments on it because I think the game has potential, and I'm excited to go and see where the full game's going to turn into. The full game may be absolutely garbage, Ubisoft may mess up again on marketing or whatever, but yeah. Well, I'm more so defending the girl point thing because a lot of people are making critiques on it for them being a woman. Because that's kind of the main point. Anyway, so that's about all I have to go and say for this one. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think people should check out the game when they enjoy it, and I did like my gameplay experience from it earlier on so far. So thank you guys all for watching. I appreciate you guys all. Target links down below as well if you guys want to check that on out and give me your thoughts and comments on everything down below.